Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Cops to go easy on vehicle seizures during lockdowns. The police have been instructed by Commissioner Anthony Anderson to waive the seizure of motor vehicles, except in traffic crash and criminal investigations, and to focus their energies on cracking down on the upsurge in violence. Anderson's missive, issued on September 2nd, indicates the increased pressure on the constabulary to rein in murderers, which has skyrocketed almost 10% year on year. As Jamaica enter a third week of lockdowns to counter soaring coronavirus infections, police personnel were informed that the additional demands on resources have caused the force to embark on more flexible surge operation. In the lead up to no movement days, Anderson said that policing should be geared towards traffic management as well as moving violations that impact public safety. The author further emphasized stop and search routines to intercept the movement of criminals and illegal firearms. For now until the end of September, alternate means to seize such as ticketing or proceeding by summons should be employed, except when seizure is necessary for criminal or accident investigation, the order stipulated. Approval of a gazetted officer must be sought for the management of reclaim services, the correspondent said. Enforcement of curfews, as provided under the Disaster Risk Management Act, will continue. The other emphasized the importance of e-commerce national delivery system ends as a critical component of support during restrictions. Unless there is a blatant breach occurring or specific intelligence, the free passage of delivery personnel is to be allowed, the commissioner said. Days after a fuss was stoked by the withdrawal of meal welfare for some police personnel on duty during lockdowns, the force order re-emphasized. Prime Minister Andrew Holness disclosed last Wednesday that cops and other security personnel could purchase meals directly from establishments registered under ends. Anderson has ordered the leniency by extending the commercial carrier license registered under ends to undertake their normal operations without being prosecuted for permit infractions. This order is in line with the exemption requested by the Transport Authority because of COVID-19 safety protocols. Whether you're a pastor, politician, police, or a businessman, if you're involved, we will get you, were the sentiments shared by Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey as he sends a message to criminals.
It may not be tomorrow, it may take time, but as long as they are involved, we are going to find them, we're going to get to them. Not only do I have a team that is competent, but a team that is patient, a team that is thorough. And as I've said before, whether you're a pastor, a politician, a police, or a businessman, if you are involved, we will get you. And that is a message to the investigators. And I know that is the message that is being communicated by our commissioner. We will get you. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of patience. If you're involved in crime, we are going to get you. That is the only way we're going to push back on the organized structure of crime in Jamaica. That is the only way we are going to create a better society for all of us.
Wean children of diet of war, Gail please. Communities like Rosetown have been diagnosed as incubators for war-ready children in Kingston Western, one of the most blighted and violent torn police divisions in Jamaica. Several streets in the community are littered with barricades, stark metaphors that the series of lockdowns imposing no movement already resonates daily in the life of many Kingston low-income neighborhoods where gun violence is more feared than coronavirus. To intruders, the mismatch of tires and large stones represents an obstacle course thwarting their bloodlust, but for residents of Rosetown, they are a shield that gives comfort and just enough time to dash from death. Dr. Herbert Gale, a lecturer at the University of the West Indies, Mona, said that debris like discarded refrigerators and abandoned cars imposed an infectious sense of fear with the slightest trigger likely to spark a counterattack. On Sunday, no vehicle could traverse Harris Street without interruption and skillful navigation. In fact, the pathway from Harris Street to George Street is impassable, and similarly, so from Unity Lane to Harris Street. Speaking from behind his gate, a resident said the roadblocks have been mounted because of the upsurge in violence. We have to go and watch and leave, the resident, who like many of the inner city communities requested not to be named. Not far away, a woman walked briskly to another section of the community, hardly willing to stop to talk, except to mutter a few words about the barricades. After we prevent drive-by and them thing there, she said hurriedly. But drive-through in the community a few days ago, following a spate of murders and shooting, has caused spiraling fear in Rosetown. On August 22nd, the first of No Movement days offered no deterrent as gangsters pounced upon 56-year-old Paula Raphael on Unity Lane and shot her dead at about 11:15 a.m. This killing followed the brutal murder of 51-year-old Courtney Kelly and injuring to three other members of the Bentley Lane household at 2:30 the same day. As a cameraman took photographs of the barricade communities on Sunday, a group of children watched in earnest, seemingly intrigued by the shuttered speed. "Sir, you go round that side there? It block off too," said one of the children. "And because of the war, we can't stay outside. We have to play in the yard, round at the house back." That profound conclusion sums up the fragility that defines Rosetown and other such inner cities where access to food, safety and shelter is unpredictable. The second block of what we call ontological security, which is a sense of future, which makes people feel calm, is already gone. The immense fear of those symbols of reminders, which of course are the constant blockage, is going to be added to the fact that the child also lives in the environment where there is a problem with food, the academic said. Gail said, "The girl is pushed and pressured by everybody to stay in school, while boys are socialized to be soldiers. You can't be soft, so the social side fits into the demand of nature, which for the male is already more aggressive in terms of hormones. You are taught to be protective, while girls are taught to be protected." Citing data from studies conducted over 3 decades in Jamaica, Belize, and Trinidad, Gail said that the findings suggested that 1 in 20 inner-city boys here are destined by sociological factors to end up committing murder compared to 1 of 150 girls. Chronic hunger is higher among boys and girls in the most violent communities, said Gail, noting that there was that trigger of antisocial behavior. Gail recommends closing the gap of inequality and providing more socio-economic opportunity as key to break the cycle. Developing a strong sense of independence, said Gail, includes constant school attendance, the establishment of microenterprise, and offering support for cottage industries. Deputy Commissioner of Police Fitz Bailey, head of the Crime and Security Portfolio, congratulated JCF investigators who are landing more guilty pleas and confession in court.
I think we have some of the finest investigators within the region and investigators who can stand up to any international scrutiny. I know that in first world country where investigators are exposed to all type of technology and resources, when we look at the limited resources that we do have, whilst it is improving, and you look at the quality, as a matter of fact, if I may just step back a little, now we are getting several guilty pleas and confessions, and people do not confess unless they see that they are cornered, unless they see that there's no way out. I mean, defense counsel, when they review the material that is presented to them and having had discussion with their clients, that is why we are getting the type of guilty plea and we are getting the type of confession, because we are more meticulous, we are more thorough in what we do. We use science, we use technology, and the training that the officers are getting, we continue to develop them through training, develop their capacity through training, different type of training. I must point out that even within CIB, which is not the traditional way of doing things, we have done direct recruiting from the police training facility, and we have actually exposed them to significant amount of training that by the time they become part of the CIB, they are well advanced in terms of their ability to interview people, to record statement, and to understand the dynamics. So as we understand that experience, there's a program of mentorship that is also created where they are mentored by by more experienced officers, and we are seeing significant dividends as a result of that. One of the approaches that we have taken is to engage in multi-agency type approach in our investigation. So our mantra is that wherever you are, whoever you are, once you are involved in crime, we are going to extend our investigation to you. Again, it's about capacity building, widening our ability to investigate, do the paper trail, follow the evidence, follow the money as well, and also the owning of the talents of our investigator. I think, as I said, I am very impressed when I do case reviews, when I look at the quality of the investigation that I see. I am really impressed, and I cannot overemphasize how I'm pleased with the investigation, be it even in terms of those who are support to the investigators, like specialized ops, the Caribbean Search Center, the K9 Division, for the role that they play. It's this multiple approach that we take towards investigation, and we link investigation. And I forgot to include the NIB, the intelligence component. We are getting better. When you look at the international benchmark standard, if you talk about maybe it's about 16%, 17% average. We are getting over 28% on our intelligent packages, which is something that is commendable. And I have no doubt as we progress, we are going to see greater result and more improvement in the intelligence component of the JCF.
A member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force leading by example. Be the type of person that children can emulate. Be a force for good. The Jamaica Constabulary Force operating several training facilities to increase establishment.
This is another site that we've just brought online. It's a traditional Seventh-day Adventist campground, which is used for their youth camps and various conferences. But obviously, since the beginning of the COVID pandemic, they haven't been able to use it much, and we are looking for more training facilities, and particularly a place where we can quarantine new applicants before we get into the training cycle. So it'll be used for that purpose, but also as a training facility for other levels of training in conjunction with what we do at Tranquility Bay in St. Elizabeth, with the National Police College of Jamaica in St. Catherine, and Hammond Barracks in Kingston. So these 4 facilities will be able to allow us to train enough new officers, new entrants, to both cover the numbers we lose every year, and also to add some 800 to 1,000 officers each year. Obviously, with CMOC, there is one of the measures or measurements under that arrangement was for the police numbers to increase over the next 2 years by 3,000, up to 14,000 plus. Now, obviously, when this agreement was being made, we weren't yet in the throes of the COVID pandemic, and so we lost some training time managing that, and also the number of persons we can put into one space. So we've had to have reduced size classes. We had to shut down training for a while, but we're getting back up and running, and this facility is part of that process. Now, the expansion of the force is not really, well, it was really part of the transformation process. That's where it started. Now, out of that process, when CMOC came on board, they were looking at some measurable changes in the force. So we basically, all of the changes that we agreed to or were agreed to were things we were already doing as part of the transformation and modernization exercise of the force. Now that's going well. This will allow us to recruit, I'd say, 1,000 persons a year. We're looking at pushing that up to 1,500. With the protocols before COVID, we'd easily have made that 1,500 mark. And I think in a few months, as the vaccination program gets going, as we can create a bubble of vaccinated people here, we won't lose time on quarantining whilst training is going on, because we have much less likelihood of having somebody infected within the bubble. So I'd say we're going to get to 1,000 plus persons this year trained to add to the force, and that of course will redound to the benefit of Jamaicans and the police divisions now that are short of officers.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.